to the cloud. Welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome around the globe to Kangen Water Radio, featuring the Kangen Water Health and Information International Call, where we consider, clarify, and often correct the conventional wisdom around Kangen water technology. What would that be? The different machines, the science behind the water types, uses and benefits of the water types, the testing process of the machines, of the pH, of the ORP, all kinds of stuff, the maintenance and cleaning of the machines, and much, much more. You can get it all here. We also explore a plethora of other topics as we teach, promote, and discuss the three-pronged approach to health and wellness: hydration, detoxification, and complete macro and micro nutrition. I'm family physician, Dr. Lisa Battle Singletary, your virtual keto coach, and I will be joined by my co-host and fearless leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, a Magic 6A distributor extraordinaire. And together, we bring you the best of both worlds. This is call number 410. Oh my goodness. And we are almost through July. This year, I'm sorry, I'm just hanging on to the space-time continuum as it blasts by 2021. But I'm so good to have this time with you. Today, we're talking about DEM bones. How do bones heal? Now, this is really a part of our series, Inflammation, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And the last call on Wednesday, we talked about how inflammation is crucial in the healing process for the skin. Today, we're going to talk about DEM bones. What happens, because Mr. Hope always shows us on his slides an injury to the skin. I love the little picture with the little girl with the thumb and the Band-Aid. And he's, from the surface of the skin to the depths of the bones, how the three-pronged approach and how Kangen water can be an important part of the healing process. But today we're going to talk about inflammation, because inflammation gets a bad rap. I was in medical school before I was taught, I didn't even realize, but before I was taught that inflammation is a necessary component in the body's immune system. So let's look at the bones today. And I have a lot of good juicy stuff for you, not only that I'm going to show you on the call, but resources that you can look up later. So, did I skip the screen share part? Let's get back to the screen share part. Here we go. All right, and welcome to those of you who've joined the call since we started. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen. And I need to help one other person get in here. So I'm multitasking. Well, you can't really multitask, so I'm sorry, taking a pause. Okay, so before we went to the actual structure and function of the bones, I wanted to just give you an idea of what percentage of the body makes up the skeletal system. And if you look at this pie chart, the skeletal system is 20% of the body by weight, right? So if you separate out all the systems by weight, the muscular system is the largest. Of course, it depends on your body composition. And then the skeletal system next, and then the integumentary system, which is the skin, is next. But we remember there's a lot of subcutaneous fat possible here. So again, these numbers are just approximations, but it gives you an idea of how important it is to nourish and support your skeletal system. Give me 1 sec. 787, 8, 4, 2, 3, 7, 3. Okay. So when you look at bones, we think we got ideas of what bones look like this guy in the middle. But there are 6 broad classifications of bones in the body. And you can look here, you can imagine flat bones would be in the skull, but also your sternum, right? These flat areas. Irregular bones, your vertebrae, very irregular. There are sesamoid bones, like sesame seeds. That's where they get that name. So they're kind of round and, stuck in different places. But I'm going to talk about mostly long bones, because these are mostly the bones that end up getting fractured. Some, of course, any bone can be fractured depending on what happens, but most of the bones in your body are long bones. So those are most of the bones that are at risk. Now, a long bone doesn't necessarily mean that it's long in length, right? Because even the tiny bones in your finger, they are long bones. And they're called that because they have this structure. So let's cut one open. Got to do that. And we see that inside the long bone, there's something going on at each end, right? And then there's this long shaft. And one thing that I didn't know about bones is they have a huge blood supply. And it comes like, this is the nutrient artery. It goes directly into the middle of the bone shaft and then spreads. Then there are other arteries that come directly into the ends of the bone. Now, something that happens also within that center part is the marrow. And so I'm going to include in the resources, we're not going to read this article today, but I'm going to include a link to this article in Medical News Today about bone marrow. And it's pretty extensive. There's a lot going on in the bone marrow. And this is some of the stuff that's going on there, because there are a lot of cells that live in the bone You don't think about your bones being alive, right? They're alive until you think about, well, the calcium's got to get in and out somehow. The fractures have to heal somehow. There's a lot going on in bone and in bone marrow. So let's take a look at just a little corner of the bone. So this is the outer. So look up here. If we just took that long bone that we saw earlier and we cut it in half, and we're going to look at this little corner of the outer structure of the bone. And we can see that the bone is filled with blood vessels, lymph vessels, and these round structures. Now, these round structures extend from one end of the bone to the other. And this is, when you look at the physics of those structures, that's how the bones keep their strength, is what these internal structures are. But this is the functional, and I like to tell you the functional and structural unit of the organs that we're talking about. So I don't know if you remember, the functional structural unit of the kidney is called the nephron. Well, the functional and structural unit of the bone is called the osteon. And so you can see there's an osteon. Okay. And around the bone, so this light blue area around the bone, we call the periosteum. That means it goes around the bone. And so it's a layer of tissue that, and that tissue is very, very important. Looks like, it just kind of keeps the bone intact. Well, it does more than that. So I just want to really impress upon you that the bone is very, very vascular. But look at this, your cartilage, which is that gristle that decreases friction when two bones meet that move. The cartilage has no blood supply. And that was something else I didn't know. I had this concept in my mind that every tissue or every cell in the body had to get blood, had blood supply. No, there are tissues in the body that do not have the benefit of blood supply. So the cartilage, how does it get nourished? Well, there's a little bit of joint space here, a little bit. And in that little joint space, there's fluid. They call that the one name for it is articular fluid. And that fluid is what the joint, or is what the cartilage is dependent upon for its nourishment, for its hydration, to keep it supple. So hydration is very, very important, not only to your body in general, but in particular, structures such as your cartilage that don't have any other way, they don't have any blood supply, they don't have any other way of getting rid of toxins and getting their hydration and their nutrition than from this little teeny tiny bit of fluid that's in the joint. So what happens when the bone breaks? When the bough breaks, that's another, but that's, if you talk about the tree, that's a bone. I'm sorry, back. Oh, before we break it, let's make it. So those different categories of bones have different ways of being formed. So the flat bones are formed in a very mysterious way. They call it ossification in a membranous matrix. But we're talking about the long bones. So here we go, the long bones. This is so cool. Have you heard that kids have very flexible bones, right? They kind of bounce and they fall from heights and whatever, and you think, how did they survive that? Well, this is how. Their bones really are flexible. Their bones start as cartilage. This is in the womb, but the cartilage is like the model. It's a form, and then that model, that cartilage, over time gradually becomes ossified or calcified. And that calcification starts in the center and it goes eventually to the ends. And then the top and the bottom of the bones do the same thing. And eventually we have this is not a mature bone because there's still some cartilage, some of that cartilage model left. And we call this the epiphysis. So you might have heard, if you got a kid that's had a fracture, the first thing they wanted to know, was the epiphysis involved? Well, that's this growth plate. This is how the bones get long. This is where the bones get longer until the child reaches maturity. So this is a very, very active part of the body right here, because that's how they grow. So what happens when bone breaks? Well, there are a lot of different types of fractures depending on the type of force that occurred. I mean, it takes a lot of force to overcome the strength of a bone. And understandably, it's a traumatic experience, but people get over it, right? How? It's nothing that we do. When I say we, the doctors, right? The body does the work. We just kind of keep things aligned so that when the body does its work, the bones heal in a proper orientation and a proper alignment. But it is amazing. So we've got 4 basic steps. And the first step is the fracture itself. And depending on what kind of fracture will determine how serious the fracture is. If the bone is broken, but the periosteum stays intact, it acts like an internal Band-Aid. It kind of can control the bleeding that happens at this bone that break. But if the periosteum is compromised, if the bone is if the bone punches through the periosteum, if it's punches through even the skin, it could. That bleeding is extensive, and so it's much, much, much more important to get medical attention right away. Now, the second part is, well, once the clot forms, that's what this means, a fracture hematoma. Hematoma is a blood clot. So once that clot forms and the blood finally stops, or the bleeding finally stops, well, then the immune system gets into action, and it actually starts to form cartilage inside the blood clot. Just like it was forming cartilage inside the womb, it forms cartilage again. And that cartilage, while it's doing that, it also has to do something else. All these fragments of bone, they have to be removed. And the body actually has cells that chew the bone. They're called osteoclasts. And the bones that build, they're the osteoblasts. And so your osteoblasts build, your osteoclasts chew. So, and it's this whole delicate dance of demolition and construction or reconstruction. And as you can see, the blood vessels have to be reconstructed. The nerves have to find their ways back to the right pathways. There is a whole lot of activity going on for your immune system. All right, so here we go. That cartilage starts getting calcified, and we have what's called a callus. A callus, if you're, my dad was a drummer, and he had calluses right on his fingers where he held the drumsticks, right? And this callus is harder than this callus was, but the idea is that there's a thickened area, and the callus is really where the new bone is formed. And over time, eventually, there's going to be remodeling. So the osteoblast and the osteoclast, based on the stress of the muscles that pull and the electrical signals from the muscles, they all they'll chew up the outer edges and reform on the inner edges. It's really amazing. So I also wanted to show, this is a scanning electron micrograph. And this is showing the difference between normal bone and bone of osteoporosis. And, you might think, or I'm sure you think of calcium as being important in osteoporosis, and it is, but as you can see, it's not just calcium, right? We need all the nutrients to support this bone, or else it's the inner matrix, they call these trabeculae, of the inside of the bone are going to deteriorate more rapidly. So ladies, particularly while you have estrogen, is a time to increase your calcium, because estrogen really helps the calcium get into the bones. But when you don't have estrogen, then we have to actually do even more to help to slow the loss of calcium from the bones. And we never want to see bones like this, right? We want to keep our bones strong. What we don't want to do is to artificially stop that dance between the osteoclasts and the osteoblasts, which is what the medications do that you might hear advertised, to quote unquote make what those medications do. And remember, this is in general for most medications, for most pharmaceuticals, I'll put it that way. They block something. So what do those medications do? They block the osteoclasts. And the thinking was, well, if the osteoclasts are chewing the bone, we'll stop them from chewing the bone and then let the osteoblasts just build the bone and make the bone stronger. Well, it makes the bones maybe more dense, or maybe a little heavier. There may be a little more calcium deposition, but the bone structure has been compromised. And I can't think of a good analogy right now, but you're not putting the individual molecules, you're not putting the individual components of the bone in the right amounts and in the right configuration to make those bones strong. So you're going to have thick, brittle bones. You're not going to have bones that have the structure and the function they're supposed to. So just a small taste, a small overview of how bones heal. Now, I do have a couple more things I'm going to share with you in the call resources. For instance, I like having resources I can share with kids, and especially talking about broken bones. So KidsHealth.org has this article, and like I said, I will post it in the call resources. When you go to YouTube, search for Kangen Water Radio, and you'll find our playlist. And each call has the articles that I used, and sometimes the PowerPoints. I will include this PowerPoint during the call, so you can review the materials yourself. So, but I love, when it's broken down to the level that kids can understand. And so it talks about the kinds of broken bones. There's one kind they don't put here, and that is called a spiral fracture, and that fractures from a twist. And that's, usually if you're yanking a kid back from the, that's how those happen. We used to see too many of those in the emergency room. But there's a little slideshow in there how bones heal, and it's the very simplified version of the same process that I showed you on the anatomy slides. So I will include this article, and let's see, we'll talk later, maybe after Mr. Hope, but I will include the article of 10 natural ways to build healthy bones. And we'll see how many of them we agree with as we apply the three-pronged approach and the good food, bad food, particularly the bad food list, to those suggestions. All righty. Well, we would like to bring to the call at this time the strong, flexible leader, Mr. Terrence Hope, a Magic 6A distributor extraordinaire. Mr. Hope, are you with us, sir?
Just happen to be so.
It's a
And
beautiful thing.
amen and praise the Lord. You know, Dr. Singletary, and family, I'm so very glad to be here with you all. I'm over here drinking my nutrients and my little kit of health items here, looking to keep myself strong and able, and encourage you to do the same as well. Dr. Singletary, I am so very thankful, and I may sound like a promotion ad for our call. Forgive me if I do, but it's in fact so true. You know, Dr. Singletary, Dr. Lisa Singletary, MD, board certified physician who is now retired, lending her time to teaching us here in the general public about health and wellness, about nutrition, about the basic factors that are so important in our lives to keep us healthy and able, reminding us of the basics. As a medical doctor, she is giving us her intricate knowledge and understanding of the body, biochemistry, anatomy, details that we often wouldn't be privy to. How often do we go to the doctor and we say what's going on with our bodies, and they say, well, take this. We really have no idea what it is, well, how what we're taking is going to actually physically affect biochemically. We can only say whether we feel better or we feel worse. But what's the details of what's happening? What's the medication that he's giving us or she's giving us? Where's that going in the body? What exactly is it doing? How is that going to affect us? If we had that knowledge, would it make logical sense to us? When it comes to science, when it comes to health, when it comes to medicine, when it comes to medical schooling, one can feel like, well, that's a lot of information. It's of a knowledge base that takes a great mind to understand. One might think that one's own mind is not great enough to understand. But you know, when you go to your doctor, whether you are in India, in Dubai, in Nigeria, in Uganda, throughout the UK, in Vietnam, in China, in Russia, you speak the same language your doctor does. In my case, my doctor speaks English. I, in fact, happen to be fluent in English. So if he explains something to me, I likely will understand. We have to understand when it comes to medicine, medical terms is a different vocabulary than what we are accustomed to using, listening to, following along with, yeah? But it is a language that communicates specific things. We're going to talk about a particular element, a particular piece of matter. It could be a lysosome. It could be the mitochondria. It could be the microbiome. It could be something that chews things up in the immune system. It'll come to me. But, you know, different elements of the body, yeah? Well, guess what? It's a term we haven't used before, but it's referring to something. Imagine this. You have to go from your home to the local gas station, to the local grocery store, to the local post office, and home. Yeah? You may never have taken the trip before. You'll ask someone, which way do I go? They will say, take Pinehurst Street to Billamy Way to Montgomery Avenue, and then go straight down Lockbourne Drive. All streets you've never heard of before, but you know it's a pathway that's going to get you, and you go the direction. So I'm so thankful that Dr. Singletary is here with us on the Kangen Water Health and Information Call, translating the terms that are in medicine to terms that we can understand. At the end of the day, it's a piece of matter in the body. It's a different type of organ or vessel, and we simply want to know, you know, what that does. You tell me what it does, I'll know what it does. Does it have a big name I haven't heard before? Yes. Well, can I now understand what that big name is? Yes, I can. Yes. So thankful for the information.
Could I share a couple things before you go into your one?
Yes.
Is and I'll start with the one you just triggered in my mind.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is how averse the medical community used to be to translating things into clear language for patients to understand. I took a class in medical ethics, and we were talking about informed consent. And we were studying a lawsuit where someone had sued the doctor because they didn't give informed consent before a particular procedure. And the doctor had drawn the heart, and they drew the 4 chambers of the heart and labeled them and whatnot. But because he drew a square to try to help the patient understand, and it was not anatomically correct, the lawyers said, well, this was not informed consent because you did not give them an accurate picture of the heart and what you were actually going to do. And the doctor's like, well, they understand, I wanted them to understand there's a hole between the 2 bottom chambers, and I'm going to fix the hole. Or but like they didn't want the patient to be really able to grasp the information somehow. The other thing is, it's such a good thing that the body is so amazing. When I did surgery as a resident, a lot of times, well, this was the joke, surgeons, I guess they have to have real interesting senses of humor. And you would hear a joke, or you would hear people say, well, the surgery didn't go so well, but the scar looks great. It's like we get the symptoms, but we don't treat the underlying cause of the disease. And people think the surgeon's wonderful if the scar looks great. But the surgeon that does a real good job inside, but the scar wasn't perfect, or they didn't get the edges approximated. We talked about that in the wound healing last fall. That surgeon is not considered to be as good a doctor, even though they can repair a heart like a Swiss clockmaker can repair a timepiece. So that was what you made me think of today.
Well, amen. And good thoughts. And so we're all very thankful. This is great information. The list of recordings that you have with us on YouTube are beginning to be a veritable medical school, listing. As a matter of fact, it excites me more and more to actually want to go to formal medical school, because I love all this information. The more I, look at and understand or more I have looked at and understood biochemistry, the more fascinated I've been by it. The more I'm like, yeah, I want to really go further and deeper and look and spend my time. And when you spend your time with a subject, it becomes intricately ingrained within you, and you know it well. And I notice many scientists spend their time not only in their work, but also going to a number of science presentations to see what other work is being done. But I think it also keeps them sharp in the area. And depending on how active you are as a researcher or as an active medical practitioner, constantly looking at the terms, constantly being active with the information keeps it sharp in your mind, So I thank you, Dr. Lisa Singletary. I know we all thank you here on the call, and we are very happy and fortunate and thankful that you lend your time to our call, and in such a great way. So much to know, so much to understand, so much you were providing. And may God bless you and thank you. Yes. So, Madam, so everyone here on the Kangen Water Health and Information Call, we are glad that you have joined us, of course, here once again, and every Saturday at this time, worldwide, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, United States, 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 9 o'clock Dubai, 6 p.m. in the UK, including Wales, Scotland, England, and Northern Ireland, 6 p.m. as well in Nigeria, 10:30 p.m. in India. And the rest of you have got to do your own math. A lot of time zones, but we're glad that everyone is here from coast to coast, from nation to nation, here on the Kangen Water Nation hosted Kangen Water Health and Information Call on Kangen Water Radio. So I'm going to talk some right now as well about Kangen Water. So we have the details of that as well, as we look to give you the best of all worlds. Kangen water, what is it, how it works within the body, how best to use it to be most effective. And then we talk about, of course, our water, which is the greatest water in the world. We all agree, don't we? And we also want to be thorough. We understand that the body does not live on bread alone, and nor does it live on water alone. But with our Kangen water, you have to have full nutrition. And we look to give you all those details, which is why our Kangen Water Health and Information Call has become Kangen Water Health and Information. So I'm going to share my slides with you, my PowerPoint, as Dr. Singletary has shared hers, and talk a little bit about this. Yeah. So Kangen Water, what is it? Our motto at the United Kangen Water Company is change your water, change your life. Because in fact, when you drink Kangen water, most people, once they start drinking it, they don't want to ever drink any other kind of water again. And that's for good reason. Where are we? There we go. Kangen water, what is it? Kangen water, by science definition, is an electrolyzed reduced water. Electrolyzed reduced water. This is produced in a process known as electrolysis. And one of the major elements that are produced in the process is known as molecular hydrogen. This is a paired ion, 2 hydrogen atoms bonded together, that your body converts into energy or energy molecules. So we go into our little spiel. This is one of the Kangen water machines. This is known as the SD501. It has been our flagship unit for the past 17 years now. Maybe 17, 18 years now. And all of our machines have different settings. We've got Kangen water. There's a setting called clean water, which could be kind of, I don't know, not clear, but it means neutral pH water. And the machines are developed in Japan, and maybe they did their translation and made neutral pH clean water. But I think we should just call it neutral water. That way you don't think anything about the other waters, whether they're clean or not. But that's always my thought. So anyway, we've got Kangen water, 8.5, 9.0, and 9.5. We've got neutral pH water that the machine calls clean water. We have a beauty water, which is known as acidic water or mild acidic water, beauty water. We have a strong acidic water, which I'm going to drop down to here. And we've got a strong alkaline water in the machine as well. These are the various settings. Whoops. Got back to my main page. Let's get back to where we were, sir. Thank you. Let's see. And there we go. Okay, fine. There's something else I'm going to show you as well in a moment. So we have a number of machines that I'll go over later on, and they have different features and different styles, but the flagship SD501 has been with us for many years. The K8 is also very popular. So Kangen water is produced in a process known as electricity. Pow. When electricity hits water, here's our H2O, it causes the water, kapow, to be divided into different segments. So H2O is what water is, and it breaks down into OH and H. See, H2O H2O, right? So it breaks down to its elements, OH negative and H plus. The OH negative is an alkaline molecule or ion. And we use this ion as a measuring tool in our water machines. We want to know how strong the antioxidant effect is. I'm going to step back here. So, hello. There we are. So inside the machines, we've got different settings, yeah? We've got the 8.5, the 9.0, and the 9.5. I want to just bring up one other thing here because I want to be a little closer to the action when I show you this right here. We go into usage. There we go. Voila. 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 Come on, usage, pop on up. There we are. And so under usage, we can see the different settings once again. Oh, this should be working. All right, my computer just, thank you very much for All right, so on the Kangen water machine, we've got different settings. We have the 8.5, we have the 9.0, and we have the 9.5. What do those mean? Those are alkaline pH settings, right? But what they actually mean is it's a reference to the volume of alkaline molecules in the water at a time. There's a 1-to-1 ratio of the number of antioxidant molecules that are produced in the machines overall. And this alkaline molecule, it's called hydroxide ion. It's an alkaline molecule, right? It's a molecule that's alkaline. So the more of these you have in the water, it indicates the greater the volume of overall antioxidants in the water at a time. So when we look back at our usage, the greater the volume, the greater the pH on our machines, the greater the volume of antioxidant molecules. The lower the pH in terms of alkalinity on the Kangen water machines, the milder or smaller the volume of overall antioxidant ions in the water at a time. So if you have a great volume of antioxidant molecules, you've got a stronger detox. If you have a smaller volume of antioxidant molecules, you have a milder detox. So 8.5 pH will be a mild detox. 9.0 will be a mid-range. 9.5 will be the highest, yes? So different pH levels indicate different strength of the antioxidant effect inside your body. And we need to know what that is because we want to make sure that your body's getting a effective detox, and we want to make sure we're not overwhelming your body with a detox effect. If I were to give you a 9.5, or if you had a family member or a friend who you gave the 9.5 pH to, and was their first time drinking the water, you could actually overwhelm their body with toxic release. And it could be more than their body can handle at a time. And so for that reason, we start everybody at the 8.5 level. And I always recommend they stay there for the first 3 to 4 weeks, really, because you never know what a person's toxic load is. And for that reason, I slow that detox rate down and let them have a mild detox over a 30-day period. Then after that, I recommend they can go up to 9.0 and 9.5 if their body type allows for it. Some people who are carrying extra weight, or in some cases where obesity might be an issue, the 8.5 is best to stay at on a long-term basis. Because if you're carrying extra weight, there'll be an extra toxic load within the fatty cells to get rid of. And that can be very challenging to get rid of if you're doing it at the 9.5 level. You could seriously overwhelm the body's elimination channels, like the colon. A 9.5, releasing a great volume of toxins from the body, could overwhelm the colon And instead of toxins leaving the body through its normal channels, it can kick back up into the bloodstream and you get dizzy. So it might get a little nauseous, because toxins are going into your bloodstream. So we keep it mild and we keep it at a rate that the body can comfortably handle. So 8.5 for everyone to start, 9.0 and then 9.5. Yeah. So the process of electricity hitting water divides the water into segments, producing hydroxide ions, which we use as a measuring tool of the overall volume of antioxidants in the water at a time. There's a meter that we use called an ORP meter. It has a negative charge or a positive charge, depending on, it shows a negative charge or a positive charge of a liquid substance, depending on what substance that is. For example, with the Kangen water, you want to see a large negative number show up on these meters. And in a moment, I'll show you what the meter looks like. It lets you know that it has a strong antioxidant effect. It's what you're looking for. So this little scale here is showing you something going up to negative 400. The Kangen water machines can have an ORP, or oxidative reduction potential, of up to 700 or 800 on the negative side. So you're seeing Kangen water shown here at about a negative 400. You're seeing things that you have been told and know to be antioxidant, like green tea, showing up as well on the scale in the negative range, as well as vitamin C. On the other side of the scale, you're seeing things that are not antioxidant. They have a positive charge or a positive ORP. For example, soda on the far side of the scale, showing a positive 400. It actually could be much higher than that, which means it's more oxidizing. Does not allow your body to remove toxicity. Might cause your body to build up more toxicity. On this side of the scale, we also see tap water. Tap water in the US, in the UK, many countries, has a plethora of chemicals in it, including chlorine, a lot of other chemicals that are not filtered out that still get to your home, in your home sink, and you cook with that. Some people drink it, and you're talking about accumulating chemicals over a long period of time. This can cause health problems as well. Purified waters, which is referring to bottled waters, reverse osmosis waters, distilled waters, also very oxidizing. Yeah. So we want to be clear that the body needs to detox, and Kangen water provides that detoxification with an antioxidant water. Electrolysis is the process where electricity comes in direct contact with water and produces these antioxidant molecules. There's a pH scale here, and oftentimes, just to be aware, you might come across these. It shows the overall pH scale starting from low acidity to high alkalinity. Green in the center represents neutrality or neutral pH. So anywhere from 0, which is this side of the scale at the strongest acid level, to 14, which is this side of the scale in alkalinity, is where you'll find a spectrum of different, where you'll find different substances on the spectrum at different pH levels. Our waters are in the alkaline range, but that doesn't mean we're alkalizing your body. It actually means that it's an antioxidant effect, because when you hit water with electricity, it produces that antioxidant presence in your water. If you get a water at the store that's alkaline, it's not going to be the same. That water is mineralized, and it is not antioxidant. On this scale here, some people have produced this and show that poor health occurs in acidity and good health occurs in alkalinity. Well-meaning, but not accurate. Your body has organs that are acidic. Your body has organs that are alkaline. Depending on what organ that is, depends on what pH signifies good health. So we want to get away from the concept of acid is bad and alkaline is good. Acid foods are bad, alkaline foods are good. Acidity in the body is bad, alkaline in the body is good. No. There are different foods you can eat that are acidic, that are healthy. Oranges, pineapples, tomatoes, lemons, limes. Yeah. Organic foods that are acidic are good for your body. There are good foods you can eat that are alkaline as well. But let's not get confused with, oh, I've got to eat alkaline, I've got to drink alkaline to be healthy. It's not accurate. We changed that rhetoric here on the Kangen Water Health and Information Call, so you understand that Kangen water is an antioxidant water. We're not alkalizing it. Yeah, I want to show you something really quickly. This is the body. It has different pH levels in different organs. The stomach is known to be acidic. Here we show at a 4.0 to 6.5 pH range. The small intestines and large intestines are also known to be acidic. Here is a 4.0 to 7.0, which is neutral, depending on the stage of digestion. We see other organs that are more alkaline, like the bloodstream or the heart, 7.4 to 7.1 to 7.4, 7.4 to 7.45. These are above a 7. These are in the alkaline ranges. Once again, this also shows 1.0 to 3.5. That's gastric secretion. It's referring to the fluids in the stomach. So the body is not alkaline. The body is acidic and alkaline. Kangen water, as an antioxidant, removes toxicity. So the body is better able to maintain its pH in different organs. As long as it's toxic free, the body, being self-regulating, can maintain proper pH in the different organs more readily and more easily. And that's why we drink Kangen water, because as your body stays in the proper pH range, it will stay healthy. Look here. This says here, if it's hard to see, I'll read it. Fluids in the human body function to provide digestion, lubrication, nutrient and oxygen transportation, and protection. To perform these functions, the acid levels must be varied to match the bodily function. Overall levels of acidity or alkalinity are a measure on a pH scale and must be carefully controlled in each body fluid and in each fluid in each organ. So the body is alkaline, the body is acidic. It must maintain those levels in all organs for you to be healthy. And this is why we drink Kangen water, where its health benefits allow you to detox, so the body is more readily able to maintain its pH. And in a pH balanced environment, your body can be more self-healing and overall healthy. So I'll pause with that, just give a little tidbit of information, and we can take questions or go back to Dr. Singletary with more information about health on the bones and their healing ability. Yes?
All right, Mr. Hope, thank you for that amazing information. It is so refreshing to hear accuracy when it comes to pH and body compartments. Maybe I've been holding off on this topic, the body compartments. But it might be time.
Okay, let's go there.
Maybe that's what we'll do next Saturday.
Okay.
Wednesday, I'm going to do how do nerves heal.
Ooh.
And there's nerve damage.
Good for MS patients to know too.
Sorry.
That'll be good for MS patients to know as well, how the nerves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about nerves, the structure and function of nerves, how to support them, but with the three-pronged approach. But the body compartments, the geekification has already entered my brain. I'm like, should I talk about active transport, passive transport, sodium, potassium, ATP pump? And
yes, so we love it.
We will trust God to rein in the geekification and to give me the translation for the people.
The geekification, I like it.
So next Saturday, we'll talk about body compartments and pH. But
love it.
I love also that you have the ability, and not only to distinguish in your mind, but to communicate that there is a difference between pH and antioxidant capacity. And nothing illustrated that more for me personally than when I saw you do the ORP test on essential water.
Yes.
And I have to admit, I was holding my breath a little bit because, you can buy into the hype or you just don't know,
Right.
You don't know, like, okay, it's 9.5, they say it's good. It's essential is almost in the name, it's gotta be good.
Right.
And, but like the pH, and I'm sure if you tested the pH, it would have been spot on 9.5, right?
I'm sure.
But when you tested the ORP, it was in the positive range, which meant it does not detoxify. In
Right.
fact, it ages you.
Right.
The positive ORP numbers age you, the negative numbers. Okay, can we say that? We can't say that. Okay, disclaimer. On this call, we do not diagnose, prevent, cure, mitigate, or heal any diseases, right? We give the body what it needs, and the body, in the wisdom that was designed into it, heals itself.
Yeah.
We give it the building blocks, we give it maybe a cast, to keep it straight. But the body is amazing, and it's a good thing. We couldn't have a medical profession if the body didn't heal itself, honestly, because we don't know what we're doing. A lot of times it's just, just come back in 2 weeks, and in that 2 weeks, the body has done something amazing. So
Sure. And I tell you, I came to this knowledge the hard way, just like everybody else who came to the ownership of a Kangen water machine or learned about Kangen water. We were all taught that the body was alkaline, drink alkaline water, you'd be healthy. I didn't have as much health information at that time as I do now. And, when I say the hard way, I mean, I have been working in an environment of scientists for the past, 15 years or so. And I was sharing the information about Kangen to science friends and researchers, and they were telling me that wasn't science. Matter of fact, one particular scientist just blew up at me and started yelling about how that didn't make any sense. Well, I kind of got tired of that. And I decided that I wanted to learn for myself and understand for myself, since no one's going to tell me. And some people will yell at me, but everybody's going to tell me I'm wrong. So I have to go figure it out. And that's when I came to the knowledge of electrolysis. And I came to understand that our Kangen water machines are, in fact, not alkaline water machines per se, but electrolysis water devices. And it's the electrolysis that produces the antioxidant molecules that then detox you. And of course, the alkalinity refers to the hydroxide ion that's only used as a measuring tool primarily, so we can understand the overall volume of antioxidants in the water at a time. So it can be confusing because we are using an alkaline molecule to tell us what's going on, but the alkaline molecule is not necessarily involved in alkalizing. So it's confusing. And what happened was Kangen water became popularly known as alkaline water.
Yeah.
And that became synonymous with healthy water. So the water bottling manufacturers picked up on that trending term and said, oh, wait, we do water. What's this? Alkaline water? Well, we can't electrolyze it, but we sure enough can make it alkaline, and who'll know the difference? So they put alkaline minerals in the water, like Essentia and the other alkaline water bottling companies. And they created an alkaline water that's entirely different. They use the same terms that we use. Come Alive with 9.5, alkaline water 8.5, 9.0, they got all the pHs on there, like it means something. And so they're saying alkalinity, but people don't know that just because something is alkaline doesn't mean that it's antioxidant, and doesn't mean that it's health beneficial. So without understanding that the body is not alkaline, that the body is in fact multiple different pH levels, and that you simply needed to detox, you won't understand. So they took advantage of that, created an alkaline water, put it on the market, and they picked up from where our marketing left off and launched with alkaline water that is not beneficial. People are buying cases of Essentia saying, well, I heard, what they heard was the health benefits of electrolyzed reduced water, which was known as, has been known as Kangen, but they heard those benefits and synonymous with an alkaline water, thought that was the same. So same thing. And so they began drinking alkaline water. Oh, I heard alkaline water is good for you. Your body's alkaline. You know, it's amazing how that rhetoric was allowed to just run amok unchecked.
Well, to take the understanding that it takes to be able to distinguish between the two, number one, and then the motivation behind the marketing would allow, that would be a convenient confusion.
Convenient confusion.
They might not necessarily want to clear up
Correct.
because it wouldn't be beneficial to their marketing strategy.
And they can go back to selling the other water they were selling. It's water was water. It's just another way they can sell water now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hope, I don't see any questions in the chat, but please, if you have questions, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to type them into the chat or raise your hand. Are there any in Facebook?
I'm gonna check that as well. But anybody, this is a good time.
I do have a question for you, Mr.
Oh, for me.
Hope.
All right.
I wonder if you would go into just a bit more detail in the difference between the SD501 and the K8, the advantages, who would really want to, I'm going to say splurge for a K8.
Sure. All right, so very good question. What's the difference? And this, of course, comes up on a daily basis with customers who reach out to me worldwide. Which machine is best? Well, you have so many machines. Which machine should I choose? I mean, I'm really trying to understand the water and get the right one. What do you think I need? And so, my computer is a little on the slow side today. Surprising, but that's okay. We're getting there. What? So let me share my screen so you all can see the mighty K8 machine in all of its glory. Trudging along as my computer is. This is the K8 machine, everyone. The Kangen 8. Beautiful machine, beautiful unit. It has 8 plates on the electrolysis circuit. It does the same thing that the other machine does, that the Kangen Water SD501 does. Only this machine has 8 plates on the electrical circuit, while the SD501 has 7 plates on the electrical circuit. The greater the number of plates you have on the electrical circuit, the greater the surface area for the antioxidant ions to build upon. 8 plates, 7 plates, 1 plate difference, very similar. So do you need 8 plates over 7 plates to have better health? Honestly, not necessarily. Either machine will give you what you need as far as health benefits are concerned. Let's pull up another list here. Either machine will give you what you need as far as health benefits are concerned. Where the K8 comes in handy is that it has additional features. So the K8 has a universal power supply system. And that means that within this K8 machine, you can travel to any country in the world and plug this machine into any electrical socket and it will work. So you can travel to Japan, China, Australia, the UK, Uganda, Dubai, the US, Canada, Vietnam, and this will work. There's no need for a power converter. You simply get a matching D plug for this unit and plug it into the wall. Simple as that for that country. Different countries have different types of sockets and different lookings, prongs on their plug. You just get a matching one, D plug. So that's excellent, particularly for people who are traveling between countries. The machine has some maybe a little slightly simpler cleaning process. You put your e-cleaning powder in it, you push certain buttons on it, and it kind of runs the e-cleaner through the plates and the interior, kind of like an interior washing machine. A little bit of different setup on the SD501 machine. And just so I make sure when I'm referring to the SD501, I'm also showing the machine to you. This is the SD501 over here. And so either machine will give you the health benefits you're looking for. If you want the special features of the K8, you get the K8 machine. If you don't feel like you require those additional features, you can get the SD501. And honestly, if cost is an issue, you can save a little bit of money there. Either of these machines will give you the health benefits that you're looking for. SD501, K8, yeah.
Could you address the cost of the filters, the replacement filters?
Sure. So in the United States, to replace the filters, it is $130 US when you replace the K8 machine, plus shipping and whatever your taxes for your state. For the SD501, the replacement filter is $120. You're changing your filter on average about once a year, anywhere between every 9 to 12 months. The filters on the machine go on sale every June and again every December. They take $20 off of the cost of the filter. And it's a nice low cost savings. The K8 machine, pull it up right here. The K8 machine utilizes the filter known as the F8 when we have to replace the filter, the F8 filter. And the F8 filter looks like this, yeah. So the F8 filter, $130 in the United States. The other filters for the SD501, known as the HG-N. So the HG-N filter replacement is for the SD501 machine. And those machines built from 2011 or 2011 till today. The machines built in 2010, going back to the 2003 origin date of the creation of the machine, utilize a different internal filter. That filter is known as the MW7000, the MW7000. So when you order your filter replacement, just take a look at the filter and see what it says on it. It'll say in big letters HG-N, or if it's an older Kangen water machine, it will say the MW7000 on the cover of the filter. You have to make sure you get the filter with the right model name, because they are actually slightly different in size. They're not both the same exact size, so one would not fit the other. Here it says MW7000 for the older models, anything from 2010 prior. But also keep in mind, if you own the under-the-counter unit, the under-the-counter unit always uses the MW7000, no matter what age it is. The under-the-counter unit always uses the MW7000, no matter what age it is. If you're buying these machines overseas, for example, throughout Europe, the F8
Oh,
yeah,
he's
throughout
back.
Europe and the UK. Oh, did I zip out?
Well, like I said, you either froze or you were thinking really, really, really hard about what to say next.
Yeah. I think that my computer is being a little bit slow.
Yeah.
And it's also doing something as I'm moving between websites and probably jamming up. So I was just showing that the SD501 filter is known as the HG-N. The K8 filter is known as the F8. If you're in Europe, it's in euros, 80 euros for the SD501 filters, 93 euros for the K8 filters, plus tax and shipping, what they call VAT over there. In the United States, the SD501 filter is $120. The K8 is $130 plus shipping and tax. And they go on sale every June and every December for $20 off. And over in Europe, they refer to that as about 22% off. So that's filter replacements.
Thank you, sir. And we do, we had a hand up from Agatha, I believe.
Agatha Oneida, okay, that's in the UK.
So Agatha, would you unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello, Agatha Oneida. Welcome aboard from the UK.
Yes. Agatha. Good
Welcome
evening
to the call.
Good
to
evening.
you all. Thank you very much. I've learned a lot, especially from Doctor and yourself. So my question is this. Can you throw light on the difference between the Kangen water, electrolysis, and hydrogen water? Because some persons are now coming up with what they call hydrogen-rich water. Is there a difference between the hydrogen-rich water and Kangen water?
Not really, because Kangen water is hydrogen-rich.
Okay.
It's one of the aspects of the water that does have an antioxidant effect inside our system. So our Kangen water is a very, how can I put it? Sustaining antioxidant water.
Okay.
So the pure platinum wrapped titanium plates, the electrical power supply that is utilized to produce the electrolysis effect creates a sustaining antioxidant effect. So in our water, once you pour it into a container and seal it, if you want to store it, will last up to about 5, maybe to 7 days on the far end and still have a strong antioxidant impact. Electrolysis is a process that occurs in nature. So when there's a lightning storm, you're getting a number of negative ions produced within the air. You're getting ozone production in the air. When electricity hits water, like a lake or a stream or something, it's also going to electrolyze that water and create an antioxidant ions as it restructures the water molecules into an antioxidant effect, which will last for a period of time. And our machines produce a sustaining measure of that. So hydrogen-rich, our water is. There may be other things out there that are creating hydrogen-rich waters, but ours is a strong one and a lasting antioxidant system for that purpose.
Thank you very much. If I may get it clearly,
yes,
it's because the Kangen water machine, the electrolysis goes through titanium plates. Is that?
Well,
did
I did, and that's the process of electrolysis. Or the electricity has to be conducted, and you can conduct that over metal plates. When you do that over platinum, you get a stronger antioxidant effect occurring. And it's also the amount of power that our machines conduct. So there are 230 watts of electricity that course through our machine in a shock on the water at a time. You need a high electrical power burst in order to produce that. And our machines do that. So it's a sustaining water that produces antioxidant ions, active hydrogen as well, that gives it its benefits.
I would like to say, though, that the molecular hydrogen is the smallest element in the universe. And the molecular hydrogen very quickly escapes from the water. So it's very, very important to get the molecular hydrogen effect to actually have a machine and be drinking the water fresh from the machine. So you're getting a double benefit, the benefit of the hydroxyl ions as far as the detoxing, as well as the separate effect of the molecular hydrogen molecules. But you want to get the molecular hydrogen effect, that has to be fresh, because even if, no matter how tight you can squeeze to screw the top on your container, the hydrogen quickly escapes. So having your own machine is really essential to get the full benefit.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Hope, I say thank you. I'll be looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
There's another question that came in. Let's see, Golden Eagles wants to know about the deep cleaning process, where to send or what to do for their deep cleaning. And there's Audrey has typed a question in Facebook. So.
Okay, so it's funny, I was looking in Facebook, I couldn't see where people were making questions, but okay. So the deep cleaning should be done by the headquarters. The Golden Eagles, I don't know where they are. If they're in the UK, then the machines will be sent into the Enagic Germany office, and they would do the deep cleaning there. In the United States, there are 7 headquarters here. New York, Florida, Chicago, Texas, 2 of them in Southern California, and 1 in Washington State. So you would want to ship it into any of those locations. Just take a look at the enagic.com website for the address and phone number of the headquarters closest to you. And you can contact them about doing your deep cleaning. I have heard of some other people doing those or attempting to do it on their own. I was actually at Enagic New York's headquarters when someone brought their machine in to be cleaned, and while it was being deep cleaned, the technician noted to the owner that there was some sort of leakage going on, and he asked them if someone else had done a deep cleaning on it. They said yes. He said, well, be careful of that, because if you don't do it properly, you can actually damage the machine. And he had to make some adjustments to it for whatever the other person had done to it. Yeah. So deep cleaning is done at the shop, any one of the headquarters. There is a basic cleaning though you can do on your own. 2 things that you can do. I'll give you the easy one first, and I'll give you the one a little more laborious. The easy thing to do when you first get your machine and is to run the beauty water intermittently. So always have the beauty water go through the machine as the last unit as the last water that has passed through it before you turn it off. So if you get up this morning and you poured a gallon of Kangen water, and then you're going out and about, and then you're getting on our Zoom call and drinking your water while enjoying the talk, make sure that the last water that went through your machine was beauty water. Because what the beauty water does when you run it, it reverses the polarity on the plates. When Kangen water is being produced, electricity is hitting the water, and it draws on the calcium in the water as it produces its antioxidant effect. That calcium can cling to the plates, and long-term it can build up on the plates, blocking the plates, which is why your machines are always doing something known as notice of cleaning. When you see that sign, it says it wants you to turn the water on so the machine can flush the plates. The beauty water reverses the polarity on the plates, which kicks off the calcium deposits. And the beauty water itself is a mild acid that will dissolve the calcium residue that may be remaining on the plates. So if you run the beauty water for 30 seconds in between uses, and that includes being the last water to go through your machine at the end of the night, the beauty water will expel a residue of calcium deposits each time you do that. The beauty water will sit on the plates as a mild acid water itself overnight. So giving you kind of like an all night long kind of cleaning going on. Do that every day and your machine will stay in pristine condition. There's also something known as electrolysis. No, something called e-cleaner. It's a citric acid powder that comes with your machines, little silver packets. If you reorder, they'll send you a 2-pound container. And there's a specific process you go through, which maybe we could put on YouTube link for you, where you take a small cartridge that came with your machine that looks like a small filter, but it's not. You take the citric acid powder, you pour that into that small cartridge, seal it, and put it into the machine where your filter is now placed, where it's sitting. Take out the filter, put this cartridge in, and then turn your water on with your water tube sitting in a large bowl. Fill up that bowl with the citric acid fluid. It's now the powder dissolving, and let it sit there overnight. And that will also dissolve calcium deposits on your plate. So there's some simple ways to keep your machine. Use the e-cleaner, and you can look that up on YouTube. E-cleaning, the K8, e-cleaning the SD501. Or you can use as well the beauty water setting, which is a mild acid, on a daily basis. Run it for at least 30 seconds. Always as the last water to go through the machine, and as the last water to go through the machine for the night, and your machine will be in perfect condition. Otherwise, have it deep cleaned at the headquarters, about once every 2 years, something like that.
Thank you, Mr. Hope. Okay, Audrey has, I guess, retyped her question since, okay. I would like to know what happens when a woman who has had a hysterectomy and oophorectomy stops her hormone replacement at the age of 55. Can oral calcium supplements help to support the bone structure against osteoporosis? Is it better to continue with hormonal replacement just for the artificial estrogen benefit? Okay, so yeah, without estrogen, okay. Most calcium supplements on the shelf, first of all, are not absorbable. And you are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. You're lucky if you get an absorbability of, I'm going high, I'm going 10, 20%, something like that. So you want to make sure that your calcium supplement is absorbable, but women or estrogen is a key component in absorption of or uptake of calcium into the bone. And you know, I have done many talks about estrogen replacement therapy, and in fact, the first time I did, I was actually giving a talk at a Christian convention. And it was, you know, these people didn't know who I was. I really didn't know who most of them were. But I could look around the room and you could see in the room which ones were taking hormone replacements and which ones weren't. It was very evident. So,
and what made that evident?
Oh, they were like glowing almost. Their skin was, you know, just more, they were more supple. They looked more vibrant. Now it was 2:30 in the afternoon on a sweltering day. And, you know, it was a very interesting situation. I decided to have a little sense of humor because I needed it. And so you remember those commercials, don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Did I have the nerve to have the first words out of my mouth? Don't hate me because I have estrogen.
Wow.
Ooh, talk about measuring the temperature of the room before you speak.
Wow.
I hadn't developed that skill.
Wow.
But this is the thing. You know, a lot of people are told, for whatever reasons, that you know, you shouldn't do certain things because you're messing with nature or whatever. I said, look, as far as I'm concerned, menopause is one of the effects of the fall. So we're just trying to mitigate those effects. But there are natural ways to support your hormonal system.
How?
And one of those ways, I think one of these days real soon, I'm going to show the oh, I have the slide right in my mind. I can almost pull it up mentally from my slide deck, but I'm going to show the relationship between eating eggs, so cholesterol, natural cholesterol, and hormones. I mean, just as one visual, two visuals would astound. I'll say they astounded me. I don't know if they'll astound you, but they astounded me. So I'm definitely a fan of nourishing and supporting the hormonal system. My preference is to do it naturally, but there are definitely many benefits to, and especially someone at this age of 55, you know, menopause is devastating to many systems in the body. And it doesn't have to be that way if you're getting full nutrition and hydration detoxification. You're taking full advantage of the three-pronged approach. But if you're missing certain elements, then the menopause affects mental factors, emotional, physical, with multiple body systems, a cardiovascular system. But the bones, I mean, that's one where you can just see it with very evidently. For instance, on those scanning electron micrographs that I showed you earlier. So oral calcium from the shelf, if it's not absorbable, you're wasting your money, because most of them are from crushed up oyster shells and stuff like that. Your body's not designed to absorb minerals. They're rocks, they're ground up rocks. Plants can do that. And so the trick is for your supplements to be plant-based, so that the plants have absorbed the minerals, and then you eat the plants and your body can absorb it because the plants have done that conversion to make it bioavailable.
So are we saying that if a person has full nutrition and a woman has full nutrition, we talk about that in terms of having all essential 90 nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids, that her estrogen levels would maintain as she aged?
It's more likely that it'll slow the decline. And not only of the levels, but of the bone density as well. It's very well documented, measuring bone density over time. And I don't know if I have that slide in one of my decks, but
sure.
If you can imagine, when you're young, right, your bone density is high. It's high. Menopause comes, it drops like precipitously. Let's turn back the clock. Before menopause, high, it drops, but you take an estrogen replacement, then instead of dropping like a rock, it drops like a slow decline, and it buys you years of functional strength in your bones, as opposed to this precipitous drop. Now, this is the problem that people have when they are not consistent, because the drop happens, right? And then you take some hormone replacement, whether it's prescription or natural, and you're like, oh, I don't feel like taking anymore. The drop begins again, just as precipitous. That slope is just as precipitous. And so I would say replacements alone will not make the levels go up. Now you add in exercise. You add in gluten-free diet, high in omega-3s, then you got to change, and you add in the correct recipe of replacement, because it's not just replacing estrogen, but there's a whole symphony of factors that go into those pathways. You add all that stuff in, and yeah, then you have a chance.
Understood.
So I hope that helps, Audrey. And speaking of what we can do, we are way over, but this has been such a good call. So let me just take a peek at, or let me share a peek at the 10 natural ways to build healthy bones. Like I said, I will put this article in the call resources. So lots of vegetables, vitamin C, they're looking at antioxidant effects. Vitamin C stimulates bone production. The antioxidant effects protect the bones from damage. Perform strength training and weight-bearing exercises. Consume enough protein. Yes, protein, so important. High calcium foods throughout the day. High calcium foods, yes, but taking the supplement, maybe they'll mention it later. Making sure that they're plant-based. Vitamin D, vitamin K, and they do specifically talk about vitamin K2, which is, has gotten a lot of press lately. Avoid very low calorie diets. You need energy in order to replace your bone. I love that they put in here about collagen. Did we talk about collagen? I think we've talked about collagen. We've talked about collagen a little bit. Maybe we can revisit it sometime. Oh yeah, we did. Maintain a stable, healthy weight. And calcium is not the only mineral game in town as far as what your body needs for bone support. So also magnesium, zinc, omega-3s. Thank you, Healthline. You do disappoint sometimes. You didn't disappoint today. And of course, there are other herbs that are also important in bone health. There are other, other minerals that are boron. They didn't mention strontium. They didn't mention horsetail. They didn't mention. There's, like I said, a whole symphony of actors that go into formulating healthy, strong bones. So, but all of it's in the 90 nutrients, but there are secret sauces that when you're behind the 8 ball in nourishing a particular area, which most people are and have been for decades, then it helps to add a secret sauce to kind of fill up that nutrient tank and give the body more of what it needs, because the body, whatever you give it, it's going to use. And it has a lot of redundancies. It has a lot of ability to rob Peter to pay Paul for the short term or even for a long term. But eventually, Peter's going to be like, okay, I've sacrificed for you.
There's no money.
It's like the first 2 babies. We talked about the babies. The first baby gets everything mom has. Second baby is good with the leftovers. The third baby's like, what happened?
Unless the mom's getting full nutrition the whole way through, we're building that body.
There are places on the earth that the nutrients are in the soil, and so if they're eating local and organic, farm to table, they can get adequate nutrition. There aren't that many places, but there are places that that can happen, but you need to supplement. So, all right, Mr. Hope. Whew.
And that's all we have to say about that today. Yes, yes.
So thank you for joining us today, everyone. There we go. And we'll be back here on Wednesday. And Wednesday, we're going to talk about how nerves heal. And on Wednesday, it will be the Dr. Lisa Health Zoom with the passcode here. If you have questions, you can call or text us, area code 866-526-4368. That's US toll free, 866-526-4368. You can email us at kwnation7@gmail.com. That's kwnation, the number 7@gmail.com. Those of you who are overseas, I will add that number in, but it is +44 0800 086 9793. That's country code +44 for the UK. 0800 086 9793. And for the replays, go to YouTube and search Kangen Water Radio. You will see all the videos there. We've got, I think we have 30 videos now, Mr. Hope. We've been doing this for a good bit. So, and it's my privilege to be here and to be part of this program.
Wonderful. I keep looking over this name here, the Golden Eagles Global. I'm wondering what country she comes from, the Golden Eagles Global. It's good to hear someone's flying high.
Amen. And I'm glad you said that because I meant to say something else. Give people hope today. HOPE, help one person every day.
Oh, wow. Amen.
Amen.
That's good. Help one
Okay,
person.
I'm just going to sit here until you end the call, Mr. Hope, because
yes, mademoiselle. And so thank you all for coming to our call here at the Kangen Water Health and Information Call. And we look forward to seeing you again every Saturday. And of course, every Wednesday. We've got a different code for that. We have to communicate that clear. And drink Kangen water. It's good for you. It's corny, but it's true.
And you have the power. Mwah.
Praise God. Everyone, you take care. See you again. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.